So I am moderating
Sorry about that.
Toy
It took a
Pizza.
while. You didn't hear any of that. Uh, so yeah, at the top, go check our store. We just opened it last weekend, and we dropped the Creative B Studio collab with the Ceratopsy and Glow in the Dark, as well as the 3D Pixel file, and a few action figure of the month styles that were previously exclusive to Patreon members, as well as action figure of the month subscribers. So if you are here watching us, and I'm saying this again for the second time, so I'm gonna try to make it short, that we will be live streaming weekly here on Twitch on Tuesdays. We're gonna try and do the same time at 7. If it changes, you know ahead of time. But we will be doing live episodes of Toy Pizza. We can do Q&As. We can do interviews with potential guests, or just hang out with me and Jesse and listen to us play live. And on top of that, we are kicking the
God,
YouTube off again. We are doing
did we
weekly
just?
videos. I'm going to tell you right now, because you guys are watching us here, that one, we did a little kind of commercial for the Ceratopsy and Dinosaur, but every Friday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, we will have a new video. And some of these videos, Jesse and I do together. We're going to do separately. I worked hard on my two videos, and I think you're going to love them, and I would be more than happy to tease if people were interested. However, go subscribe to. I'm gonna post in the chat right now. Again, that's youtube.com/toypizza. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you turn the bell on so you're
Let's
notified when these
see.
videos go live. But there's some of our best content, I would say, and we're just kind of doing it just because we have time. It's summer, and yeah, we want to do more things. So, like video episodes, we're gonna do our first live episode here, and maybe we'll do a version of that goes live on the channel. But this is like how Jesse and I would write an episode live, and we're not cutting anything out. You're gonna get us discussing and talking about these our favorite Toy Biz picks. So it's all about Toy Biz this episode, as well as a very very special giveaway today, which Jesse was nice enough to give away the very first Sen 5 test shot available to the public. So if you guys are streaming right now, thank you for joining, and you may win a Sen 5.
That's correct. Nikki, check your messages. We got a little formatting issue here, and while you do that, we are giving away tonight a test shot for Sen 5. I really am pretty scarce with test shots. We'll tell you how to enter. You will enter through the chat. We're not going to announce the winner tonight, but it will be announced in Distazapod, which comes out on Thursday for patrons, and to the general public on Friday. So you will have to wait and bite your nails a bit, but later this week we will announce the winner. If you have won a major prize from us within the past 6 months, you are not eligible to enter. But maybe if that's the case for you, you can just nominate somebody to win in your place. I think that would be a-okay. It's also important to mention that we're doing a very specific era. It looks good, Nikki. Fixed it. A very specific era, that is the pre-Marvel Legends era of Toy Biz. And even so, quite a few years before Marvel Legends. We wanted to, think of... I've been obsessed with Toy Biz quite a bit. And actually, quick side note, there's an amazing video coming out this Friday on Toy Pizza. I finally watched it today, Nikki. I'm sorry, I got very caught up. But for the first time, we are showing what exactly happens when you place an order on toypizza.com. And we go behind the scenes and literally show you how the workshop's laid out and what tools we use, and it might be helpful for people aspiring to get into e-commerce. But more importantly than that, completely lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, I show that in the workshop I have a ton of Toy Biz figures, and Toy Biz figures from a very specific time, pre-Marvel Legends. We're going to dig into this. You'll know exactly what we're talking about here. But there was just an endless amount of magic going on in those
Yep.
early days. Marvel Comics was bankrupt at one point during this period. It was bought for very, by Toy Biz. You know, just the history of this
I
time
wonder why
period
this isn't working.
is so absurd. Hopefully, somebody makes a documentary about it at some point. Um, you know, a lot of this era is due to the great Jesse
There are no
Falcon
eligible.
and his vision. This is also the creator of Marvel Legends, and you know, still a Marvel employee to this day. And
Set.
not to mention the stable of artists that he used. People like Phil Ramirez, who's going to come up a lot in this discussion tonight. Dave Cortez, Alex Fung. You know, it's endless. There's just so many people that had a hand in this beautiful line. But I really love it because they were in a unique position where
Oh.
they owned Marvel, right? So
While they do this, I'm gonna eat the sandwich.
whatever they wanted. And really, in general, toy making was not so adherent to style guides or 3D files or things like that because those assets didn't necessarily exist. So this was kind of still, this is kind of the last decade of the Wild West of toy design before things became very streamlined and, you know, manufactured, to no pun intended. And I think there's no better example of that than these early Toy Biz figures. And look, Marvel Legends was great as well. And I think actually the current day Marvel Legends from Hasbro are really fantastic. I pick up those figures from time to time, even though I'm not really a 6-inch collector. But there was just something, you know, once in a lifetime about this era. And it was very difficult to narrow down 5 picks. I also had to grab a bunch of runner-ups, which I'm sure Nikki did as well. And we don't necessarily know what the others' top 5 picks are, and we both made lists of what we think the others' top 5s are. So maybe we should start at what we imagine each other's picks are. I can go first. I took a photo of my handwritten list, actually. If you want to put that on the screen.
Oh, your handwritten list? Let's see. Okay,
Yeah.
I got this, so let's check it out. So
I apologize. My throat is closing up due to allergies. I may not make it. There it is.
all right, so Toy Biz.
So just top of the line. Before I read these off, did I get any of them right? Did I get any single figure right, and did I get any position of a single figure right?
So if it was a normal, like if under normal circumstances, yes, this would be my list. Like hell yeah. But I practically went like, dude, these are gonna be too obvious.
Yeah.
I'm going elsewhere. So that's really funny because I would have said the same. This list would have been my list for you.
Okay.
Without the exception of Venom, I probably like would have picked Punisher.
Oh, okay.
But no, I actually like this is actually really good because my list is actually outside of me, not too far off. Because like, to be frank,
Yes.
to give you all the features there, like Jesse just talked up why Toy Biz is so amazing. But pretty much like the card stock, anything with like the Toy Biz card art for X-Men or Spider-Man, I just like you went to that aisle, and I literally would want anything. So it's like, what do you want for Christmas or your birthday? Like, anything from that section. So I literally got almost the entire wave.
I hope you
of
guys
X-Men
need to see me my sandwich.
figures.
So I'm just gonna turn this camera off.
About like Shatterstar, Warpath, and I just
You
didn't
can read
know
Toy
anything
Pizza's
else.
chat,
So
but honestly, I highly recommend you guys follow them
literally was like
or watch
toys
in their
that I
chat.
loved the most. And I'm sure Jesse and I can talk about at length just so much about the figures. Like right off the top, Gambit with the fruit roll up leather cape that just like
No, he was terrible. Come on.
No, I mean it was
There were some of these that did not do the characters justice. There were some you really wanted a good figure of that character. It didn't exist. Gambit is one of them, although later you can kind of piece one together. And actually, you said Punisher. I don't think there's a very good Punisher of this early Toy Biz era. I had, of course, the cap firing Punisher. I loved it dearly, but that was the only Punisher figure that really existed outside of an Applause PVC.
exactly, but I was saying that like it wasn't perfect, but you owned it and played with it. Like I hated the fact that it had this giant metal trigger that was so hard to pull, but on the front, I'm like, this is a sick looking figure.
Yeah.
Let's do
okay, so
this.
Same thing, like in this photo right here.
Look, it's like I'm in the show.
Researching this stuff. Pretty much
Yeah.
any Toy Biz figure you can find a photo of. Like, I can't find it in Google. You go on eBay and it's there.
Exactly.
Like that Nightcrawler, I loved, but I hated that it had a suction cup on the knee. I hated
cut
that.
'em off.
I thought it took away from it. But so you said Blue and Yellow Wolverine. Wolverine is by far my favorite character of X-Men, any Marvel character. And it's like I had epiphany this researching for this because I was like, I think that's where my collector signal comes from. Because I was like, you need to tell me there is.
Maybe I should switch this to mod view because I have to actually mod.
Lineage. And
Window. Right there.
getting pulled from a list of like worst Toy Biz figures ever, and I was like, oh, but I like that figure. So I love Toy Biz.
Okay, so to go back to the list I imagined for you, number one I said Unmasked Venom, but that's a bit of a cheat because you've talked at great lengths about the multiple Venom figures you had and how you sort of mashed up the like pull off armor one with the unmasked one and vice versa. So am I correct in is this on your list and is it number one?
Unmasked Venom is not your list right now. I'll tell you right now, all my picks are not these figures. I went outside of
You
this.
sabotage this whole thing.
I know, but it's a good. It's like we were playing like
Okay.
newlyweds, like
Okay.
yeah. So yeah. The thing is like the Venom 2 specifically that Jesse's referencing to, which I have here, is my friend Venom original Venom figure, which I actually have. That's actually one of the figures that I actually have.
Yeah, I have them here too. And just real quick, I never owned a Venom figure back in those days. It's not until really recently that I went back and started picking up these at your insistence. And this is a fantastic figure. It really, truly is.
So this is the thing. Until Jesse gave me this Venom figure, I actually didn't own it. My friend Venom broke the Venom 1 figure, and he glued on that helmet head to the Venom 1 figure, and that's what I own.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so we were talking a little bit more about these figures that we love so much. Like, I just wanted to shout out this Hulk figure. I hated this Hulk figure, but I love that rock. And I would just play with the rock all day. Like, it floated in the bathtub. And just, like, kind of talking more about, like, just picks that, like, we didn't... Oh, honorable mention, I busted this guy out.
Well, hold on. You gotta slow your roll here.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Let's talk about Forge real quick.
Okay.
Forge was the only character that had an unpublished action feature. And that action feature was that he exploded almost instantly into a million pieces the second you used his feature. The sort of torque in the spring on the inside of him was way too tight. And then the clear plastic ABS on his thigh, which is a very cool effect, but it was very brittle. So you would pull the trigger and he would flick his arm up with a great deal of force and instantly the leg would shatter. And so most of these forges are just sort of in pieces. Although recently I tracked down, there was a FAO Schwartz box set and there's a repaint of Forge. He just has a solid leg.
And it's steel?
It's a bit darker colors, but really nice figure. It's a great figure, just never sort of had a chance with that action feature.
Like, I owned it, I loved it, and it broke. And, yeah, and, you know, talking more about Toy Biz, like, we're not getting to the list, we're just kind of getting you in the mindset of, like, what these figures were like for us at that time. Like, I own this. What the hell is Maverick? I don't remember. I just remember, like, yeah, I remember that guy. You know, and then just talking more about just, like, here's some of the, I think this is the back of the quick draw action of Forge, but just, like, look at the selection that you had, right? I was just like, I want every single one of these figures. So Jesse really was on the ball because there's something really special about Series 1, where like the animated cartoon, the one-off cartoon that they did with Kitty Pryde. I love these styles. I love that Cyclops. I love that Colossus. I love that Juggernaut and Apocalypse were not big. They were like the same size.
if I can make it so they can see
everyone
my
else.
chat
X Force, these
specifically.
are all good. Secret Wars figures, oh, they're great. But I'll give you another hint, Jesse, if you want to try and guess.
Okay.
Maybe one figure from my list shows up on this card.
Um. Oh, Iceman.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't we? I feel like, did we already do this as a formal Toy Pizza
No,
episode?
we did a top clear toy. So I'll tell you right now.
Yes. So that was kind of a cheat. I
So
knew
message
that.
is
The
up.
Psych with the light up
Chat
eyes and
appearance.
Sauron, both fantastic
Delete
figures.
message.
Absolutely, as Captain Geiger says in the comments there.
Mr. Sinister's cape. It was like I just remember like I haven't held that figure in probably over 10 years, but I know what that feels like in my mouth. I just know what that cape feels like, the plastic.
You also bring up that there was a very interesting period here, right?
Yeah.
There was sort of the Pride of the X-Men, which was put together by, the executive producer that would go on to do the animated series, but it didn't get picked up in that form. And the look of the characters in Pride of the X-Men was more of a throwback to the 70s version of the characters. And that was also what the arcade game with 4 simultaneous players was based on. And really, that was the last time that X-Men, it sounds silly to say, but had a sort of established, unified look and style guide. Because once the animated series blew up into the phenomenon it was, and there's actually a really good book out now that you can get that has all the concept art, and they interview everybody who worked on the show. Really fascinating read. But once that animated series blew up,
My
it was like the point of no return.
Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode
couldn't really imagine the characters in
walking
their
off.
unsophisticated form. So this first series really taps into that, and the arcade game has
Nice.
wonderful aesthetic. And then all of that got thrown out because you had the sort of rise of Jim Lee, and you had the animated series, and then pretty soon after that you had the X-Men movie. I know it doesn't seem like it was that far in the distance, but a lot of the film creators and the actors reached out to the voice actors on the animated series to take notes and compare about the characters and things like that. So there's kind of a bridging of 2 very interesting eras of X-Men with this line, and you see that the Toy Biz line really shifts focus as soon as that animated series comes out, because then you have like the
Nice.
X-Force spin-off line. You have the guys who would go on to form Image, and I'm definitely not like bad mouthing Jim Lee and his influence on X-Men. I think that was super important and just redefined the genre. But there was this little tail end of still kind of a Chris Claremont 70s look and feel to the uniforms and the artwork. And
Anyone's
that's
joining the
a really
chat.
nice time
I'm
too.
watching Toy Pizza on Twitch right now because they asked me to moderate for them, and I just thought it'd be funny if I just stream me doing it. But if you guys want, you should follow Toy Pizza and participate. If you do exclamation mark giveaway, you'll be entered for a random giveaway for them. Now, no matter what, it's cheesecake. I don't know what flavor it is. Apple. I think it's apple.
And like even that Archangel, like it's really interesting because it's like they kind of like made arcs in the animated series that like probably stick with me. But like Archangel, for example, I love that figure in that first
So
row.
rich.
And I just remember like the missiles like shooting out of the wings. It's great. It's great. So like it's really because again I'm not gonna spoil it, but Jesse does have a great line about this series in our next video that I'm like he really like hits that nail on the head about how just influential this line is, and that's why like
Dramon Fighter.
picking only 5 figures is really really hard.
It's tough, and easily. I could have picked my top 50, right? And I think that these picks also change for me. But just based on what I sort of had on hand, and where my mind's at right now, I think I put it together. Yeah. I would love to see your list of what you thought my picks were, or you can just say it out loud. I
was gonna say it out loud. So it's funny because I picked up a backup because I'm like Jesse's probably gonna pick this. Before I continue, everyone in the chat is like posting their stories. I would love to read them on stream because you guys seem to be like right there with us, growing up with this line of toys. So keep it going. Like Jesse has a great story from one of our Toy Pizza episodes about how he found Iron Man in a theater.
Peach?
Like I
Oh,
was
this is like
talking about like
peach.
those kind of stories. What um, memories do you have playing with these
Tastes like
toys?
peach.
Why don't we ask people to go to the Discord and they can post their Toy Biz stories, and maybe we'll read them in a future episode or something like that. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I know Jonte is here. Maybe he'll throw up a little temporary channel or guide to the best place for that. But I would love to, collect these and read through them.
Yeah. All right. So my first pick, and I think I'm pretty accurate. I was gonna say Space Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've talked to great length about that. It's come up a lot in the old Toy Pizza episodes. Um, you could also factor in, my obsession with the Abyss and like any sort of space or diving suit. So I would actually be disappointed if you didn't think that.
And not to like spoil anything, like I was gonna fire them off. Like I honestly thought like you would have picked Morph or Forge as well, just like because it's like, but that's more like I would have picked that. If I was you.
Oh, Thomas says to post in #collections in the collections channel your Toy Biz stories, and he'll put them together in a doc for us. So that's great. So if you are a patron, you have access to the Discord. You can go to the collections channel, and we would love to hear at length your Toy Biz stories.
And if not, then maybe we'll share. If you want to post it in the comments, we'll read it out here today. If not, then look forward to that episode. My next pick for you, I was honestly going to say like a Nightcrawler, but I don't think that's true. And
No, I mean I like that first
Too
Nightcrawler figure.
right.
You have to modify him, obviously. The Water Wars Nightcrawler figure is really good too. But as much I love Excalibur and I love Nightcrawler, there's a lot of figures way ahead of him.
and then my other one was going to be Mr. Freeze.
From DC.
Yeah, Toy Biz did them.
Oh, you're totally right. Yes.
So the whole thing is like
Wouldn't be wrong. I pulled one of those. I have a little switcheroo, so yeah.
So see, another thing is like again referencing your list. Let's take a look at just this one.
Yeah.
This is all Marvel, right?
Yes. I didn't think you were gonna be cheeky.
But that's the thing, cause like I didn't know what you were expecting from me, cause I wanted to be like save it for the show. I don't want to like lead on like, oh, I'm gonna go just like first gen X-Men. I'm gonna go Spider-Man, and I'm gonna go DC. So like, yeah, that's another big part. Like as much as I love X-Men, I play with those superpowers
Yeah.
the DC stuff so much. So
That's fair.
I have a couple of honorable mentions, but like my absolute top 5 is like in this realm of
Okay.
toys.
So let me ask though, Morph. That's not like.
It's not. It's like.
But it's a great.
For,
And it's a figure I love.
for me though, it's just like I love that character. At the time of watching that, it's like, no, this is a good guy turned bad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so like, I like that, and like there's now that I'm kicking myself because it wasn't so much that the Morph figure. I love the Chameleon figure a lot.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Jack says he had 3 of the X-Force canes because he kept losing it.
There you go. Dude, we should get Jack in here. All right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys are all like kind of jumping in and like talking and responding to it around. But how do you want to do this, Jesse? Do you want to go first? Do you want to go tip for tat? Do you want to do this?
I want to see. Did you list all? You didn't list 5 that you thought I would have. You just had a couple.
Yeah, that was just.
Okay. I'll go first, and I'm going to start with my 5th pick, and then you can go for your 5th pick. Okay.
Oh God, I'm looking at so. I was like. Okay, go. What's your fifth?
Okay. So pick number 5 is, and you can go now and sort of put this up on screen, the proper photo. But this is the Water Wars Venom, and this is, I believe, a Phil Ramirez sculpt. And when this came out, it just broke my brain with how cool it was. Not to mention that it also came with a flotation device. Clear fins. He has one arm that's also a this thing just it looked unlike anything else. It really did. And I wrote a lot of sort of fan fiction and stories based on this toy as like a different sort of character, as a sort of like Grendel type character. I don't know if I'll ever get to reuse any of those ideas, but this thing is just incredible. The color scheme is incredible. The use of translucent plastics, the fact that both jaws sort of open and close, and then all of the detailing, all the veins, and this sort of like shedding of the venom skin. It can't be beat. Not to mention the pose, right? Like it's tough to get a sort of composed form that works also when you articulate it, and this is one of those rare figures that actually does that. So the
Maybe we
entire
can
Web
make this
Slashers line
bigger.
and Water Wars line deserves, a lot of praise because there's some amazing stuff. So did you have this one or not one that you?
No, I didn't get any of those. Like it.
Oh, better. This is
When I get to my
probably
phone,
like this
I
better.
have one more photo of just like general Toy Biz figures that I think this is where like I stopped collecting when I like moved on to probably Star Wars at that point. So basically, this is that weird Wolverine figure that I was talking about that like made the list of like worst Toy Biz figures ever. Like I like this one, and I think it was just because I was like because there were so many versions and different colors. I was just like a blue and purple Wolverine. Yes, please.
Oh, I was doing
So
Digimon
I love
stuff.
that figure, but yeah. So like this line classics, and probably after
I
this
don't want to
one
run.
with the X-Men with this card stock is when I
Just
stopped
keep
collecting
painting.
toys. So I believe that
I don't need to, right? Because he's already
Yeah, yeah.
maxed
all right.
out.
Yeah, that I've never actually
Let's just put him on my
met
watch.
Wolverine in person, but the color scheme is really interesting. I really did not like the light up features. Um, I was sort of like always dunking toys in the pool and like tying them to rocks and throwing them in ponds and stuff. So light up features were kind of a big no for me. But it does seem like a unique, kind of interesting sculpt.
Yeah,
So
I think, and it's kind of funny, like to what you loved about the Venom, and like I get it, like especially today, I would love that figure, but I realized that I didn't like my figures as chunky, and like there was definitely a moment where like the men have to be more muscular and like more jacked. So like this guy, he looks like an overweight Wolverine if he had too many men figures, right? So I'm not really a fan of this in retrospect, but I just was like, well, my favorite, I gotta own this. But my number 5 pick, and this is like where my top 5 actually began. You saw so many Toy Biz figures. Ashley Good is this guy right here. Did you own this?
I'm waiting for it to load. 1 second. No, I did not. So I sort of felt like the Spider-Man series was a little sacrilegious to me. So a diehard X-Men animated series. Now, granted, I still watched it. Like it was great. There were 2 Marvel cartoons in a row, but I was so obsessed with X-Men and Jim Lee's X-Men that I felt like all the other heroes were just kind of like goody two shoes, watered down versions of the kind of more edgy storytelling that Jim Lee and Chris Claremont were doing. So
Interesting.
I
I can
didn't.
see that. It's like no one ever got hurt or died in Spider-Man,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So this figure though, like taking with this card stock, this series, I like ate everything up, and I was just like,
I
this
think
is
that
one
looks
of the
better.
first Spider-Man figures
I
that
think it
wasn't
looks better.
painted blue, and I was like, oh, it's silver and black, and I just thought that was like insane, and then just like it wasn't necessarily webbing, it's like this studded like silver, and just like that shield, and it just had a really cool feature. It can like shoot the shield. I love this one. So that's my number 5.
was this when he would fight like Electro or
Like Shocker.
Yeah, this
Shocker
was like
was.
related costume.
I love that Shocker figure too, but I didn't pick it. All right, so going back to Jesse's.
Okay, so number 4. I gotta look at. I sort of have them out of order. Okay, so number 4, you already called. No surprise there. The Space Wolverine. This is also one from a multi-pack. I think this might have been a FAO Tours as well. It's nice blue color. I think there's also a red chrome version of this figure. So it's just so fantastic. I used to pretend that these were sort of like guys from the abyss also, and dip them in the pool with string attached to them. Um, and also, I this might not be the case, but I always took this to be the first like fully retractable claw set in a Wolverine figure. Although maybe Civilian Wolverine came a little earlier than this, but the fact that you could the claws could go all the way in and be kind of completely hidden. I really
It's
Yeah.
crazy because I have like
And you can
3
also
of the
get
same
like
chat
the
windows
curve,
floating.
like
Yeah,
basically the back scratcher like of
I did
adamantium
not
claws.
like I did not like when he had curved claws on his fingers. On the fingers.
All right, so it's interesting because you basically kind of said what I was saying, where you picked one that would have been on my list. So not going to speak too much about this figure, but I spent. I think this is the blue one. I don't remember which one was which, but I had both, and all I would do is just like if you can't really tell, the he had this like base that was essentially his ice slide. You would put him on the pegs, fill it up with water, and throw it in the freezer. So I was like, oh, that is so cool. But it's just like literally you're just freezing water
Too late.
on your plastic toy anyway. So it's like you didn't need that little extra thing. But I just thought it was so cool that he was like fully clear, and I love the blue one. I love the blue one.
Now, he didn't make my list because he was also prone to breakage as well. I don't know if you had that issue with either of yours.
He never broke. He never broke.
Oops.
Interesting. And just to be clear, obviously the first Toy Biz Wolverine had retractable claws. I'm talking about fully like hidden all the way in the retractable claws, which this Space Wolverine does. Really.
Yeah, it would like hide. It would like go up to the fist, and you still see it.
Yeah.
So Jesse, what's your next pick?
Okay, so number 3 is kind of a later day one. And really, I've been going down this rabbit hole quite a bit because there were fantastic Hulk sublines in Toy Biz. There was just one called Incredible Hulk, there's one called Transformations, there was one called Smash and Crash, and completely underappreciated. These were clearanced out pretty quickly, but featured some of the most amazing sculpts, some of the biggest figures, and a lot of work by Phil Ramirez. I think Phil did the head on this figure, not the body necessarily, but I remember loving the look of this character when it came out. I never actually owned him when I was a kid because I think there was a little bit of a price jump around this point, and I would have sort of been like 17 and needing gas money. So, and you can see, compared to the standard Toy Biz figure, he is just gargantuan, as he should be, as all the sort of Hulk sublines kind of were. He
I
also
wonder if I
comes
can
with
make
this
a different
enormous
chat.
sci-fi Tommy gun. He's got a removable hat, obviously, and it also launches this gigantic grenade. And I really like the Joe Fixit era. I was reading Hulk at that time. It was Sam Keith and who's the other artist? It was really good. Anyway, it was kind of like a dark chapter in the Hulk. I liked the spin-off Hulks. You had Smart Hulk, you had Gray Hulk, and I thought that all these were cool. And the fact that he was just kind of a bouncer at a casino and kind of wore gangster clothes.
Okay, that's the ad. Okay,
I
never
thought that
mind.
was super awesome.
Yeah, isn't that Solomon Grundy?
He could be confused for one, yes.
So my next pick, and speaking of big action figures, I picked this.
Dale Keown, thank you. Yeah, Dale Keown.
So I picked the deluxe version of the Space Wolverine, but as a backup, because I was gonna say either I was just gonna pick this or, not to have like multiple Wolverine figures. This one I love, which is also a Wolverine figure. Because when I got this, I was like, I had no idea that you can have action figures that are big.
Yeah.
The concept of it like blew my mind as a kid. So I played with this, the Spider-Man, and the Venom all day. So if it wasn't the Space Wolverine, if it wasn't the Wolverine other one, I picked Magneto. Because like I was just like, it was like my only red and purple like figure, and again of this size, like I would go to sleep with these toys.
I have this Magneto as well out in the workshop. This is a fantastic line, and another one that is kind of more based on the 70s, the late 70s look of X-Men rather than the animated series. And they are kind of goofy, but they're really fantastic. Like they're big jumbo vinyl figures.
Yeah, and their poses are great. I think their poses are really good. And the
I'm
removable
literally
helmets
watching
are
the
so sick.
same stream.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good pick. It's surprising, but it's a good pick.
All right, what's next for you?
Number two is kind of playing off of, why we specifically said Toy Biz and not just Marvel figures. Chris Redfield, Resident Evil. Now, I've recently beaten Resident Evil Village, and it just brings me back to, you know,
Oh,
this figure, and
just
obviously
realized you guys got to see my text to my roommate.
This was kind of
I
like
don't
the
think I need
first
this. We're not
sort of
doing any
civilian
Digimon
figure I
stuff.
had, and it came with an awesome magnum, a removable knife, a big gun, and all of the characters really, you could get like a zombie two-pack, or they came with little creatures, and it also kind of gets props because it has an action feature, but the action feature doesn't really get too much in the way of the articulation. Um, and I just don't, I sort of always wanted non-superhero figures. I wanted more sort of everyday average characters because they were easier to have like my own creations and stories about, as opposed to somebody like Superman that, there's not a whole lot you can sort of act out or invent with that. And this was kind of one of the first ones that scratched that itch. Um, I think there's a Distasapod where I talk in detail about the video game lines that Toy Biz did, and I spoke with Mark Mosman, who was sort of he was representing Tomb Raider at the time, and was there as a fly on the wall at a very pivotal moment in Toy Biz history. So you can go back and listen to that. I have no idea what number that is, but I've done a deep dive on these video game Toy Biz figures, and I think they're really fantastic. And this kind of was a predecessor to
Bigger?
all of those Marvel vs. Capcom 2 packs that we love so much.
So again, like I'm not like live grabbing images. Right? I prepped them. They're in like basically a slideshow that I have prepared, and this is my honorable mention. Like if I wasn't going to do just Marvel, I love that 2 pack. Kind of like
Yeah.
you, where it's just like I wanted a figure that wasn't tied to necessarily a property, but I just thought that the gruesomeness of these two zombies were so good. And like
Yeah.
here's another photo of like it sprung up, but I love the villains. Resident Evil specifically was like one of my first games that had 2 discs, and I played that all day. So I love the hunter pack with the spider, like and the dogs that came with either Jill or Chris. I don't remember, but it was also like my probably first video game toy as well. That like I really like wanted like a figure from that video game. But my next pick, and Jesse was very close.
So if
Very
anyone
close.
wants to watch them, I should
Another
put
Spider-Man
link
figure.
on their thing,
This is
but
the
you guys will find
figure
out.
that I
Yeah,
took
you
with
can
me
go to
on my car rides. Like,
Yeah.
twitch.tv/
Was
Knights
the
of the Slice and
unmasked
it
figure.
follow
wasn't
them.
no, because I didn't. When it came to certain figures or
I'm
characters,
just
like I
working and
liked the
using
figure
this
with
as content.
the head on. I didn't like the unmasked version. Like Carnage design. Like I played Maximum Carnage and Separation Anxiety on Sega Genesis for hours, and this is one of my favorite figures. And just the red and the black, and how it was just like so much more different than Venom, and it really captured
43
that whole figure. Like I love the
beards,
black dots,
cool.
the black panel on it, and just like it came with like basically an axe or a sickle, but those other two accessories was basically was like a symbiote like kind of extending. I thought was just like mind blowing, and just attached to the wrist at the top. It was a really good figure. It's like one of my favorites.
Absolutely. You know, I bet as you were a little kid, I just want to look something up so I get the name right on my number one pick. I bet as you were a little kid, you were playing with that figure, you were playing the video game, and you were just thinking to yourself, "Man, I can't wait for Woody Harrelson to play
Oh yeah,
Cletus."
I was like, oh man, I love him in this movie I've never seen.
I love him in Cheers, and that man right there, he's the perfect, absolutely perfect person to play Raj in the Okay, I got the correct name. I didn't want to say it. But yes, I will
Yep.
reveal
Who did what?
my number one pick. If you're
Shotman
ready.
pooped.
Wait, this is your number one?
This would be yes.
Oh, okay, we're on number one. Here we go. All right, so swapping from Chris Redfield.
Okay, so we go from Chris Redfield to, and this is out of all these figures, this is the only one that is my actual figure from that era. Not a lot of stuff has survived. This is Ninja Force Wolverine. This is a Phil Ramirez joint. They would always put Phil on anything that was Joe Mad artwork, and you know, I sort of came into consciousness during the Jim Lee era, and then got back into comics and toys when Joe Mad started doing Age of Apocalypse, and just furiously like tracing all of his pages with tracing paper and trying to recreate exactly his style because it blended East and West so well. And it probably doesn't pick up, but I actually painted like gray hair on this, so I guess it's technically a custom. I've added electrical tape to keep his pants in
Alright.
place because I lost the belt.
I'm gonna
This is
find a way to
sort of
stream this.
well-worn figure. Also missing are all of the accessories, of which there was quite a bit that came with this figure. I've since picked up this one recently out of a dollar bin. It's in better condition, although it is missing some of his claws for some reason. And then there was kind of a rework
Oh, I
of this
lost.
same mold to do a classic brown Wolverine. This was a much later era of Toy Biz that was
Oh, it's hard again.
It saw a lot of action in Europe. But this is,
Alright,
if
no more fighting. This one's...
sort of read so well on this camera, but it is exactly the same sculpt with new forearms, new shins, and just kind of paint deco. But it works really well. And who doesn't love the sort of brown costume Wolverine?
And that is really good. So it's funny because I guess two of your picks is Wolverine, huh?
Yeah, and I have to give honorable mention to the Sabretooth from the line, which is arguably an even cooler, even better figure. It has these enormous gauntlets that snap on and off. This is also one of those rare figures that is from my childhood and survived all of my delinquency. It had like chrome knee pads, and it was also kind of like the scale was right,
Wow.
A lot of Wolverine and Sabretooth that are the same size, and this was
Oh,
one
I
that
could
felt
open
like,
Creator
oh yeah,
Dashboard.
this is how these guys would be compared to each other in movement.
Nope. Oh, I
And
cannot.
I just love these figures so much. There's not much else to say there.
Oh,
Okay, so
whatever.
not that far off, Justy.
Okay.
My number one pick is very close to yours. So it's funny, not until I see the Sabretooth figure, I'm just like, man, I really love these Sabretooth figures too. There was like one with like basically had a yellow mullet, but I love the colors of it. It was like orange and like.
Oh, is
yellow.
it the Age of Apocalypse one?
Yeah, the Age of Apocalypse one, but kind of similar. Like on the back, I showed you earlier. It was just like Wolverine 1, brown and yellow. Wolverine 2, blue and yellow. Number 3, blue and yellow. And I loved every single figure, but I got to 5, and I was just like, why is he not in like a comic book like colorway or like outfit?
Yeah.
And he had like look at the accessory pack behind that. I was just like, oh my god. And then it wasn't until again I researched these videos like there was a green one too, but the black is the one that was featured on the back. The green one, and it wasn't until I saw the packaging that it was like a KB Toy exclusive, and I didn't know that. So as a child, here I am like chasing exclusives. Like it's not like I saw the green one, just like I somehow got a green. I was like I wanted both of these because I just love Wolverine so much. So to have the same figure in a different color,
Oh, my
really did
left
something for me.
foot
And
is
it's like
pain.
he's a spy
It's a
Wolverine.
great figure. It honestly is.
It's so good, and if I didn't pick that one and runners up, and I was like so worried that you were gonna pick one of them, the Weapon X one, I was like, it's just so
Weapon
cool. It's just so cool. And then this was featured once on the show.
It's also there's something to the relationship between Toy Biz and Marvel and their ability to turn around figures very soon after we read their own comics, because this was almost contemporaneous the Marvel Comics Presents Weapon X Barry Windsor Smith multi-part story. Like I feel like I read that at newsstands, and then was able to pretty soon thereafter buy a Toy Biz figure that really sort of. I might.
I don't know how to make this
I don't know
interesting
if the
for me.
timing is exactly correct on that, but that's nostalgia for you. I have two
But,
runner-ups I want to mention.
Do it.
yep.
I have two more as well.
Good. Having picked up that X-Men mini arcade, it really brought me to reappreciate a lot of the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 packs. And in particular, I think this Captain Commando is just so wild and awesome. And obviously, like, has inspired me a bunch in my character design and things like that. And I believe this is another Phil Ramirez. And if I just had to make one suggestion, it would have been nice to have him just twist this hand a little bit and have him have sort of a neutral hand pose. But even so, pretty fantastic sculpt and really like very hard to nail the Capcom Bangus look, and I think they did that beautifully here with this figure.
Dude, that's a really nice figure because like I feel like that as they got into doing those 2 packs, I was kind of like losing steam on like collecting
Yeah,
figures. But like the likeness on those figures are so good.
Well, at this time your dollar had to compete with Spawn,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that was like that had a gravitational pull to it.
So for more nostalgia, I was gonna pick. I mentioned this one earlier as like one of your picks, but I love this figure just how weird it was, like the color changing helmet. But straight up, like this was like
Okay.
this was played with so much. This Robin figure, because I feel like I've always liked Robin a little more than Batman, like just straight up bias. Like there was no rhyme or reason for it, and probably just the colorway. Just like I just like that he was the sidekick versus like the main hero. So this figure, I love the cloth cape, and I was like, his shorts was almost like scale legs, it was like Aquaman legs.
Yeah,
But yeah, I love this figure. It was a good Robin figure.
I did too. There was a really fantastic Robin miniseries that came out around this time, and I guess it was Tim Drake at that point who was the new Robin, and thankfully he was wearing leggings. So I really liked that comic book version, and it was kind of mature storytelling for my age, but I was very into it. And then I remember I went back and took this older character action figure and painted the legs because it always looked weird that it's a young boy with exposed thighs. I don't know, it makes me feel weird.
Yeah, but his forearms and his biceps are covered up. He's maybe exposing a little elbow, but it's a good looking boy. Yeah, so I'm looking more at these like figures, like whatever lot this was. Yep, there's that saber tooth. It wasn't that one. It was a different one. But this one right here, I had that Cable Shatterstar I mentioned before. I don't remember who this guy is, the one with the purple and the white, but I had him too.
Cannonball.
Oh, it's Cannonball. Okay, yeah, I had him. There's the Gambit. I love.
There's two colors of that figure. There's a pink one and a purple one, and they're both really nice sort of color schemes.
But yeah, some of these like I love that store. It's just like it's really nostalgic. I love that Daredevil. I would bring that Daredevil with me in the bath all the time. The D was like so worn off the chest, and I hated this Cyclops, but I love that Cyclops, that blue and white one.
Yeah. All right, so I'll show you. Do you have another?
No, you're good to go, dude.
Okay. My final alternate, which it's kind of it's later, so it didn't really fit in with this, and but I think it's an entire line that was really fantastic. People kind of slept on, and I do think that this is the best Vision figure that's ever been made, still to this date. There was an Avengers animated series and this is the figure from it. And not only, you know, was this like super articulated, this was they were really getting close to that Marvel Legends formula. They were experimenting quite a bit, and
That's pretty cool.
not only is it sort of great and super articulated for the time, but it doesn't work now, but it did light up. You would press this button and the stomach would light up, and then the top of the head would light up, and there's like a drone that plugs in to the side of him, and then that lights up as well. So that plus a cloth cape, it was like an incredible value. And this whole Avengers line is really worth checking out because there are some fantastic
That's pretty dope.
figures in them. And I really don't think, look, this is not like on model Vision, but I, he's just never been done right in action figure form. And I still consider this to be the sort of superior version of Vision.
Dude, it's funny because like, if you go back and watch our Toy Pizza episodes, I feel like that I really just never had an appreciation for Vision. Right? You would bring in like the applause figure, and then you had the, for lack of a better word, the white Vision, right? And I really love Vision now. I love Paul Bettany, what he's done with the character, and like I just appreciate Vision so much. I think he's such a great character, and like I seeing this, like I would go back and buy that figure today. I would, even though I didn't grow up with it, I would buy that figure. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was based on West Coast Avengers. There's sort of the East Coast Avengers and West Coast Avengers, and the West Coast one was at the time U.S. Agent, Vision, Tigra, I think, Ant-Man, Wasp. So it was kind of like it was very oddball. Wonder Man, which is like this great underloved character. But yeah, it was pretty good.
All right, so we've got like about 5 minutes left. So that was our first live stream for Cinema Toy Pizza Live. We were talking all about Toy Biz and its influence on us as toy creators, as well as just loving this line and buying them even today. And yeah, there's so many memories. And if you haven't already, we do have a giveaway for the very first Send 5 test shot available to you guys, to the public. And all you got to do is do exclamation point giveaway and comment in our chat, in our live chat, and you will be entered. And the winner will be picked after the stream, and you will be contacted. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow us here on Twitch. Check out our YouTube channel because we are uploading weekly all June long. And just while we have you here live, I'm just going to preview the web store. We got a couple figures for you in stock still. We got.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Just a couple quick side notes. One, we're going to announce the winner on this week's Distazapod, so we'll do that right now or tonight. And damn, I had another announcement. I don't remember. You keep talking. I'll think of it.
Sure. So this past weekend we opened up a store for the Creative Beast Studio Ceratopsian Pangea Island Dinosaur exclusive orange variant that is now officially in store and shipping, as well as the exclusive Patreon designer figure Ice Rat Vector Jump, where Hob has sold out since, as well as a few Action Figure of the Month 2021 figures. If you missed out, if you weren't a subscribed member of the Action Figure of the Month, you have a chance to grab some figures or grab some extra ones. Again, can't stress it enough. Go to youtube.com/toypizza, and yeah, we're gonna have great episodes.
That's what I was going to say. If you guys want to help us out, there's something very important you can do. You can watch these live streams on Twitch. They are available as video on demand for 30 days. So if you have some time to kill, if you want to put something on to fill the air, please go and watch all of our Twitch streams. We're very close to getting partnership status, and we just need to hit a couple different metrics that we're not far off from. So for me, I don't watch a lot of streaming services. I don't have cable. I watch a ton of Twitch and a ton of YouTube, and just having those on in the background is actually a very easy way to help independent creators. So there's a whole library of videos both on YouTube and here on Twitch that you can watch. Admittedly, not some of the nicest sounds to ever grace the ear, especially in some of our more music-centric streams. But you can do
I
that,
don't
and
know
it will
why he's
be
flickering.
incredibly helpful. So if you're
Hmm.
just working on a book report, or you're evicting people from their homes as part of your job, just put on our Twitch, watch some old videos, and do a little good in the universe. You know what I mean?
So, hypothetically speaking, if your job was to evict people, are you saying our music live streams are going to help you? And if you're doing a book report, is that something that would like lull you into like a very concentrating state?
I'm going to go on record and say, yeah, that karmically, our Twitch streams will help you with both of those things. Absolutely, there's no question.
All right, so Jesse at the top of this live stream kind of teased our video, so I'm going to drop this in here. Hopefully this works. This is our thumbnail for Friday's video. It's all about workshop and the tour that of Jesse's workshop and where and how we ship your products. And see some couple spicy little hidden things in that episode. So definitely like play it at double speed, just half speed, and keep an eye out. But we have a lot of good episodes coming up, and one that I'm working on now. I'm really excited about.
Videos are Fridays at 12 p.m. Live streams will continue to be Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we're going to assess if we want to continue doing this in July. We'll definitely have more videos. I'd like to keep doing live streams if we can keep thinking of interesting things.
Yeah. So again, 12 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. It helps us a lot. Hit the bell. This way you'll be notified via email when that video goes live. And yeah, so me and Jesse are going to talk.
Before we go, Jack, let's initiate, however you do that, a raid to Toy Galaxy's channel. They're streaming right now, so we can go and we can raid them, and it'll pop up on their stream, and we will be given bits and crypto, and then we can buy Ethereum, which will... Okay, yes, good. We're raiding, so everybody, let's head over to Toy Galaxy and watch them. Thank you. Pizza out.
Okay, that's it. Let's see. Now we're watching.
Knights of the Slice is raiding with a party of 32. What?
Nice.
Unbelievable. Thank you very much for that raid. Knights of the Slice. We got a toy pizza raid. It's a whole bunch of
These
people
names are going by so fast.
streaming in. Thank you for the follow. Eric04. Matthew Paquette 929. Cinder X Cat 47 Sphinx.
Fire the
Salty
cannons!
Kaiju,
Return fire!
MTG Veteran.
Follow.
Alright, cool. Sent the
Big
raid.
Mike 1972. Thank you very much.
Now we're watching Toy Gun.
They're returning fire.
I'm trying to get them all. There we go. I think I got them all. So many other follows.
Great.
Oh my god.
Mitch Falcon, we are building the...
Exclamation point build.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Exclamation point
Excuse
build.
me, excuse me. This is the first time I've done the show.
There we go.
They're exploding. That's pretty cool.
I think the alerts are going to be going off for a while.
Oh, we got hydrate in there.
I'll take it.
Beam me.
Timmytron 2000, Warlord Silver, James from Earth, Vladimir. I'm not going to be able to name them all. Dorothy, Zborniak 74, 13 PK Mates, Captain Geiger Gliosphere, Derek Bracken, Superbot King, King Crummy Dog, and the Nuzzy Fuzzy have all followed. Welcome to the stream, everyone.
I like funny names.
And thank you so much for the raid. Super appreciated. The Dirty Bird is gifting tier 1 subs. I have no idea what to type. to Seeker Gatherer.
You're doing
and
good. You're doing good.
Kenji Taka. So thank the Dirty Bird for gifting those subs to you. You now have access to the emotes and all that kind of stuff. So use those in chat and thank the Dirty Bird for those gifts.
Need my train hat.
Oh, there it is.
We got a hype train going. I need
Oh,
my
that's
train
right.
hat.
Where is it?
They're both up there.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Oh, sweet.
Toot toot, baby. Ah, watch the Gundams and the camera. Jesus. Making me sweat over here.
There we go.
I want a scarf. I want a scarf. I want a train scarf.
Follow.
It's a high P train. That's right. 100 bits from Goblin1313. Thank
What
you
do we
very
have for
much. The
lunch?
follows are still
Subs?
coming. 600 bits from the trusty sidekick. Thank you so much for that.
I'm focused, man. I'm not breaking concentration. For
Thank
one,
you, Playware Talk Red, for hitting the exclamation point build for all the new people.
For 1 second. I will not break concentration for
Yarmo.
1 second.
Great.
Staying focused.
I mean, costumes is a very
Follow.
generous way to describe
Two hats.
Is it Beans Camp?
Thank you for following Gears Golf. I'm sure I missed some in there, and I apologize for it. Did I already say thank you for the 100 bits, Goblin1313? I think I did, but if I already did,
It was
still thank you again.
It was furious for a moment there. That
Hello there.
I don't blame you.
I mean,
for-
the alerts are still going.
Oh, is that all from that?
Yeah.
Nice. That's our first. I'm glad to have shared this moment with
I
all
think
of
we
you.
got a couple of hydrates in there.
Oh no.
Did you just equip some bits?
I feel like I'm playing Operation over here.
Hello there.
Hey, I thought I broke it,
Yeah,
but it
no,
didn't.
that
No,
sounded
it was good. It's
really
fine. It's all
snappy.
good. It's all
That
fine.
sounded really
It's
snappy.
what you're supposed to do. If I could read the hiragana here, it probably said,
Kurt 2112
"Get ready
with
for
the
some
100
noise."
bits. Thank you very
Mhm.
much for the 100 bits.
Oh, he's
Kurt
building an
2112.
RX.
Or just Kurt. I mean, I don't know. If you want the 2112 on there, if you insist. then-
RX
Hey,
78.
Knights of the Slice. If you're the one that ran the raid, I assume that was Knights of the Slice.
was.
How do that? We still haven't figured it out.
Kurt OU812.
I can read hiragana. I just don't always know what the actual words are. Katakana, you can usually.
Oh, I
It's
have
all
to
just
message
phonetic,
Dan and tell him
so.
how to raid now, don't I?
Green Loon Turn. What was it?
Exclamation point build.
Exclamation point build for all your build information.
Oh my god, I don't know how to give bits even though I have some. I'm sure someone can help you. Thank you so much, Mick242, for the 400 bits. Thank you very much for those 400 bits.
Oh.
Greatly appreciated.
Putting together a
Very
little
generous.
baby Amuro now. Little Amuro. Amuro.
I believe it's /raid channel name. All right. We'll give it a try at some point when we remember to do it. Thank you for the follow, Slyman85. Hillsy with the 146 bits and the Angry Robot. Thank you very much for those 146 bits. Jazim with the 100 bits. Thank you very much for the
Did
100
you just
bits.
equip some bits?
Soup19 continuing the gift sub. Oh god, I gotta go over to the other screen.
Thank you for joining the ranks of Cobra.
Soup19 is continuing the gift sub they got from the Drad Dog. So thank you very much, Soup19. That is greatly appreciated. Trusty Sidekick just gifted tier 1 subscriptions to Wonder Swan,
What do we
Reclia,
have for lunch?
and Buchan Red
Subs?
1442.
What? Mike.
Thank you very much for the gift subs, Trusty
What do we have for
Sidekick.
lunch?
It is greatly
Subs?
appreciated. It is very generous of you. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love you.
You don't have to go follow Mike Case on YouTube, but you really should
You
go
really
subscribe
should go
to
follow
Mike Case on YouTube.
and on Instagram. And Wonder Swan Reclia and Buchan Red 1442. Thank Mike in the chat. Thank Trusty Sidekick in the chat.
Mike
Do
Case.
something nice in your life for someone, because someone just did something nice.
I've been watching
for you.
Mike Case on YouTube for a long time.
We filmed a snack box last night.
Nice.
Comic Tropes.
I love
Gifting a
watching.
tier 1 sub
I love watching Lily cry because she has to eat things she doesn't like.
to
Look how
Sidious Snake.
look how tiny this little. You can't even see it. It looks like a little piece of trash in my
Shrike
hand.
D&B. Gifting subs to Dak217 and Prince Adam's uncle. Unbelievable. Everybody, so generous. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for those gifted subs.
No, this.
If you got gifted a sub, thank the person that gifted you that sub and do something nice for someone in your life because someone just did something nice
This
for
tiny,
you.
This tiny Amuro literally like looks like a piece of trash.
Trash piece. Dan, is that a bean?
It's Amuro bean.
Yeah,
Amuro. Right.
It's like a war zone, beans, cannons, and subs raining down.
I'll close
I can do
this.
that.
H-35. You sunk my battleship.
I would definitely lose that piece.
All right, I think
Yeah, I mean, we're not even going
I
to
think
the
I'm
model tonight.
done.
Well,
This
he's,
is
getting,
gonna-
he's getting locked down in the cockpit here
This is
in a
going to
second.
have
So
to
yeah,
stay
we're just
half
gonna
built for a while.
Which is
and
H?
get
Actually,
this,
we should
I
just tell you which
guess.
color sprue it is.
Dan, are you doing the panel lining Ian 2800? I don't think so.
Nope.
Oh, thank you for the follow. I'm just going to go with Duffy. There's a lot of letters in there. I'm just going to go with Duffy. Thank you very much for the follow. And welcome to the stream.
He's gonna be in the cockpit. The little tiny guy goes in the cockpit. Yeah, I'm about to put him in the cockpit. Yeah, no, we're good.
We're fine.